Right now, half of the internet is screaming that AI is the biggest speculative bubble in human history. Bubble. The other half is screaming that it is the greatest technological breakthrough since sliced bread. Honestly, I avoided making this video for a long time, mostly because AI is the only thing anyone talks about anymore. But the longer this debate spiraled, the clearer it became that both sides are arguing about the wrong thing entirely. The uncomfortable truth is that it doesn't matter which half of the internet is right. They are both missing what is hiding in plain sight, because they are obsessing over the same metric: demand. They argue about user growth, adoption rates, monthly subscriptions, and corporate revenue. But demand is a double agent. It is noisy, narrative-driven, and shifts constantly depending on who is trying to sell you something. But every coin has two sides. The other side, the side almost nobody is talking about, is what the world's best investors have quietly used to track financial bubbles for more than 2 centuries. It is called supply. Here's the key distinction. Demand can be easily faked, exaggerated, or temporarily subsidized. But you cannot fake supply. Supply takes massive, committed capital up front, which tells the real story of what is actually happening. This year alone, the biggest tech giants in the world are on track to spend an estimated $725 billion on artificial intelligence. When we hear a number that massive, our brains tend to gloss over it. But let's put $725 billion into perspective. If you spent $1 million every single day, starting from the day Jesus was born, all the way through the fall of the Roman Empire, the Dark Middle Ages, the Renaissance, both world wars, and all the way to today, you still would not have spent as much as big tech is spending on AI in this single year. That breaks down to roughly $2 billion a day, $83 million an hour, or $23,000 every single second. While you watch the introduction of this video, big tech spent $3 million. We have never seen capital deployment of this magnitude. But as Mark Twain famously said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And this rhyme has played out many times before. The real question here is not whether AI is going to change the world. In fact, that part doesn't actually matter. Financial bubbles do not require bad technology to ruin investors. Historically, it is the exact opposite. A comprehensive study analyzed 175 years of major technological breakthroughs, from 1825 to the year 2000, covering innovations like the television, the automobile, and the internet. They found that 37 of the 51 major breakthroughs triggered a massive speculative financial bubble. As billionaire investor George Soros put it, stock market bubbles don't grow out of thin air. They have a reality, a solid basis in reality, but reality is distorted by a misconception. The pattern is always the same: misconception, which is why top-tier investors stop looking at demand and focus on the supply chain. This supply-focused framework is based on economic ideas dating back to Adam Smith in the 1700s. In his classic The Wealth of Nations, Smith wrote that when capital increases in an industry, competition naturally intensifies, driving down returns for everyone. Take a look at these numbers. Translate that out of 1700s powdered wheat talk, and what Smith is saying is simple. Capital naturally flows into sectors with perceived high returns. This floods the market with competition, which ultimately collapses profitability. Today, this concept is known as the capital cycle theory. It ignores demand-side noise and focuses purely on supply-side capital. It moves through any given technical sector in 4 highly predictable steps. Step 1. A massive breakthrough occurs. Perceived returns are sky-high, and new capital quickly rushes into the sector from eager investors. Step 2. That incoming cash is converted into physical supply. In the AI world, this means building gigantic data centers and buying millions of high-end Nvidia microchips. Step 3. Overcapacity occurs because every competitor builds capacity assuming they will capture 100% of the market. Aggregate supply soon dwarfs actual consumer demand. To survive this sudden glut, competing firms slash prices, margins collapse, high-flying startups spiral into bankruptcy, and tech giants are forced to write off billions. Step 4. The Great Cleansing. Capital flees, assets liquidated for pennies, and only after this painful purge does supply finally find equilibrium with demand, finally allowing survivors to profit. This is the true tragedy of the capital cycle.
The technology itself survives and changes the world, but the early investors get completely wiped out. Microsoft executives are not stupid. They are trapped in a classic prisoner's dilemma. If Microsoft stops spending, Google wins. If Google stops, Meta wins. To survive, they must keep burning billions. So stop watching user counts and hype subscription numbers. Start watching the capital cycle and the physical supply of hardware. Because supply tells the honest truth that PR departments cannot cover up.